bitachon and cover with dry nahalas. There are
Okay, no, only those three.
Do you have an extra sheet?
Yes. You just pass it back. Thank you. Okay. So, our topic now is bitachon. I know that you touch upon this in other classes, but this is a certain shita that I like to work with. And basically, my idea is like this. Bitachon, I think I started saying last week, there's a lot of different shitot on bitachon. I am dealing mostly based on the Chazon Ish. Has a small sefer called Emunah and Bitachon. And one of the things that the Chazon Ish says is that bitachon has to be practiced. Because it's one of these things that you can talk about it all the time, you can chirp about it like a bird, but until you're in a difficult situation and you don't know what the outcome is going to be, you don't really know how much bitachon you have. And yet, we don't want to be tested. So it's not like, okay, so like let's bring on the trials and the difficulties and then I'll see if I have bitachon. So what's the antidote, therefore? The antidote is to use bitachon in small situations. Like, something like, I'm running for the bus, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not. Or, I'm not sure if my Shabbos plans are going to work out the way I want. I mean, these things seem small compared to the bigger things in life, but you kind of like exercise the muscle of bitachon, and then if you're not challenged in life, that's great, and you won't need to use it for bigger things. And if you need to use it for bigger things, you know how to use it. Okay, so the first thing that the Chazon Ish defines is he defines what bitachon is. And here it's going to look a little different than some other people's definitions. So first he defines the misconception of bitachon. What is bitachon not?
Blind faith.
What's that?
Blind faith.
Exactly. Well, even more than that. Bitachon, he says, is not that if I'm in a situation where there are two possible outcomes, for sure only the one that I like is going to happen. God is so good. Of course he's going to make my Shabbos plans work out. Of course I'm going to get the job that I want. Of course this guy isn't going to break up with me. Of course, whatever. He says, no, that's not bitachon. Why is that not bitachon?
It's believe in yourself.
It's belief in yourself, and also it's almost as if you're a fortune teller. He says, as long as you're not a Navi, if you know that you're a Navi, then you could say, oh, I know it's going to be this way. If you're not a Navi, why do you think you know what's going to be in the future? And this is a mistake that people make with bitachon. Because they say, oh, it's going to work, I have bitachon, it's going to work. And then if it doesn't work, they crash. So, the Chazon Ish has a different definition of bitachon. He says his definition of bitachon is that when you're in a situation and you don't know what the outcome is going to be, there's only one thing that you know for sure, that it's not random. Actually, it's two things. It's not random, there are no coincidences, and that this was navigated by God for my good. That it's not random, it's not coincidental, is number one. And number two, that this is navigated by God for my good. Now, that seems very obvious, but we're going to see how it works soon. In other words, if you want to say everything's going to be good, your definition of good, lowercase good, not necessarily. But you could say everything's going to be good, capital G good, in the way that Hashem knows is best for me. And that is his definition of bitachon. Why did I choose the Chazon Ish's derech for us? Because there's a lot of things in life that we don't know what the outcome is going to be. And paradoxically, if you're so invested that it has to work out one specific way, the closer you get to the deadline or to the outcome, the more anxious you become. Because as much as you're saying, I know it's going to work out, and then you're saying, uh-oh, and what if it doesn't work out? So you're getting nervous. The Chazon Ish says that if you know that any outcome is navigated by Hashem for your good, there's nothing to be nervous about. Because I don't really know what it's going to be, but I know that it's going to be what's good for me. And it kind of reduces anxiety. I want to give you a mashal for this, which is if you look at on our page, the crossroads. It's like the second picture over there. According to the Chazon Ish, this is he doesn't say it exactly this way, but I turn this into this mashal. Let's say you're in a foreign city. You're in Rome. You've never been there before. And you get to a certain intersection. You have directions. You get to a certain intersection and you're not sure whether to turn left or right at the intersection. Now, if you have to get to a certain appointment in a certain place in Rome by 8 o'clock, and you get to the intersection and you don't know whether you're turning right or left, you are anxious. Because if I turn the wrong way, I might not make it to my appointment. If you are a tourist in Rome and you have no appointments, you just came to see the city, you come close to the intersection and you say, well, if I turn right, then there's a view from here. And they told me to go right because I could see something really nice. But you know what? If I turn left, there's probably another view from there. So I'll just enjoy the view wherever I am. This is a very hard level. The Chazon Ish had a very difficult life, but he lived with utter tranquility because wherever God leads me, that's where I have to go. Now, it's not that we don't have to make effort. We don't have to, that we're going to talk about that soon. But that's our first idea, is the crossroads. And the crossroads means I don't know how this is going to turn out, but wherever it turns out, there must be a view from here that I'm supposed to be seeing. And when I worked with this with my students, with my married students, what I did was what I'm doing for you now in a condensed form. We did this over a year. So the homework for that week was, what's the view from here? You get to the bank and it's closed. What's the view from here? Meaning, why was I supposed to be here and the bank was closed? Or you plan for a really nice Shabbos table where everybody's going to be calm and in a good mood and the kids are fighting and throwing meatballs at each other. Well, what's the view from here? Meaning, clearly, if Hashem sent me down a certain road, He wants me to look at the view and to learn something from it. Sometimes I don't even know what He wants me to learn. But just the fact that I can accept that He put me here for a reason, that is already, makes you a tourist who's just like looking around and not somebody who's pressured because I'm going to miss my meeting. And this is why I like the Chazon Ish's definition. Because the Chazon Ish is not promising you that exactly the outcome you want is going to happen, but he is promising to you that whatever the outcome is for your good. And sometimes your will and Hashem's will are going to overlap, and it's going to be great. The capital G good and the lowercase g, what I wanted, what Hashem wanted, we're all on the same page. Sometimes it's not like that. And something that I wanted didn't work out. But clearly whatever it is that worked out was much better for me than the thing that I thought. And that is the view from here. It leads us back to the one with the check on top, the first thing, which is l'chadchila. We all know in halacha we talk about l'chadchila and b'diavad. L'chadchila is the optimal circumstances. B'diavad is okay, you can do it, but you're really not supposed to. A lot of times we're in a situation in life where we think it's b'diavad. Like, I was supposed to have a better family situation than I had, so it's b'diavad. I'm managing with what there is, but it's not ideal. Or, whatever's going on in your life, a sickness or your looks, if you don't like them so much. It's not ideal, but it's okay. I can manage. According to the Chazon Ish, everything you have in life is l'chadchila for you. It is optimal. So our comparing and our saying, oh, I wish I could have had it like that, but I'll be okay with the way it is. The way it is your l'chadchila. It's your optimal circumstances.
What's a Ramchal's tax?
Okay, we're going to get to that. That's number 2. Okay, good. I'm going to get to that in a second. I just want to tell you this story from the Maggid of Mezrich, one of the main Hasidic leaders, that he asked his students one time, he said, if you could recreate the world, or if you were in charge, pick one thing that you would change. And the different Talmidim started saying different things. I would change this thing about the world, or I would make sure there was no something terrible that was going on in the world. And then they asked the Rebbe, they said to him, what would you change if you could? He said, nothing. They said, what? You like everything in the world? I mean, there's poverty, there's sadness, there's this, that. He said, God knows better than me. And if He made the world with these things, clearly those are optimal circumstances. It doesn't feel optimal for me in my world, but in His bigger plan it's optimal. So we stop thinking that we're leading a b'diavad life. Yeah, I'm okay. It's not the way it was supposed to be, but it's okay. It's not okay, it's like good. And then my job is to try to figure out why it's good for me, because it's not feeling that way so much. Okay, I want to say one thing on this before we go further, then I'll explain to you the Ramchal's tax. There's always a dichotomy. A person, Chaim, life, is a combination of guf and neshama. your guf, your body, suffers. Your neshama doesn't. What does that mean? When you see poverty in the world, or sadness, or something bad happens to you, to somebody else, your body is saying, this is crazy, it's not supposed to be this way, it's supposed to be calm, it's supposed to be happy, it's supposed to be fair. Your neshama, which is connected to Hashem, says, no, there's a reason why it is this way, and it's okay. And that's how we survive in a world with so many difficulties and so much bad stuff going on, because there's a little voice inside you which is okay with it, because it knows that Hashem has a reason for everything. My body doesn't know, and my body's saying, it's terrible, it's awful, I can't handle this, it's crazy. And inside, how do we push through even the most difficult of circumstances? Something in there recognizes that it's really for my good. I always like to say the concept of Hakar Satov. Hakar Satov means gratitude, really. But the word Hakar Satov means, Hakara means to recognize something. Ani makir otach, I know you. And Tov is good. Your neshama is always makir the Tov, bless you. You're looking at something awful that happened, you're saying, this is awful. That's your body talking. Your neshama is saying, I recognize you. You're good. Now, what is it that the neshama is recognizing? And here I'd like to, before I get to the Ramchal's text, I'd like to just turn to the last page of these 3 pages. I'll preface by saying that one of the questions that comes up, and I've always had this question, a lot of us who grew up with Jewish education were told something at some point about how the neshama approves of everything it's going to go through in a person's life, or even that it chooses such a thing. I don't know if I ever mentioned it in class, but I always wondered, is this a Baba Maisa or is this really true? So what I did was, I sent out to my husband's Eshet Torah rabbi list, I sent out an email saying, does the neshama choose its nisyonos or not? So I think you have Rav Lev as a teacher here, right? Yeah. So Rav Lev emailed me back and he gave me these sources, which show that your neshama chooses its nisyonos. Now, I want to look at the last one first, because it's very descriptive. The last one is from the Chida. And he says here, Kasher Adam poked li'ishto u'mitaberet. When a man and a wife have relations and the woman becomes pregnant, Gabriel sholech ולוקח הטיפה, והקדוש ברוך הוא אומר לנפשיה, שתיכנס טיפה זו, ומלאך מוליך הנפש לאוצר הצלמים. Okay, so the Malach Gabriel makes a connection between a certain nefesh and that newly conceived child. Then the Malach takes the Malach molich hanefesh laotzar hatzlamim. The Malach takes the neshama and goes with it to otzar hatzlamim. Otzar is like a storage house, and slamim means like form. So basically, if I have to put it in modern jargon, I would say the neshama goes to a supermarket for life circumstances. You're going to pick your life circumstances now. Otzar hatzlamim. Shivchar salam kirtzono arocho katzar. First, it has to pick its body form. So it picks: do I want to be tall? Do I want to be short? Shalem or balmum? Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to have some kind of physical limitation? Chalash or gibor? Am I going to be strong or weak? Yafeh mechoar? Am I going to be beautiful or ugly? V'omer la ba'olam shatolech hu chaye sha'a v'achar hatchiya chaye olam. And the Malach tells the neshama, you're going to a world which is a short world, and after that there's a long world coming up. He says, in other words, there's a relationship. You can have a lot of good circumstances in this world and less good circumstances the next. Or you could have the opposite, a difficult life in this time, but a lot of olam haba. Some neshamas choose for things to be immediately good, and others for it to be delayed good. And some neshamas choose a little bit of both. Probably most neshamas choose this. Some circumstances in this world that are going to be good, and some circumstances that will pay off later, even though they weren't so good now. But the part that I underlined here, Ein shum adam yachol litra'em al HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ki hu bachar b'kach. There's no person who's angry at Hashem for his circumstances because he chose his circumstances. And this is what the Chidah is telling you. Yes?
What is the Chidah? What's the person?
Okay, so it's called Midbar Kadmos. The Chidah was a Talmud. It's from the school of Kabbalah of the Ari and Rav Chaim Vital. The sefer is called Midbar Kadmot. It says up here, Ma'arecha 10, number 23. That's what this is. The truth is, it's very heavy Kabbalah. I don't learn Kabbalah. But these are sources that show us where we know that the neshama chooses the circumstances. But I want to show you others that are more obvious. Yes?
Like, I'm not saying that, like, Chas Shalom, that I'm upset at Hashem or anything, but Hashem is the one that put these certain circumstances in the world. So to say that, like, oh, we chose, like, our circumstances, but it could have been good circumstances only, but Hashem put bad ones also.
Okay, now you're leading to a deeper question. Why would any neshama choose anything bad? I'll choose that hair, that body, that kind of wealth, that car. Why not anything bad? Yes?
Because at that point, neshama doesn't have a goof yet, so it doesn't have the same negative association that we have with it. Instead of looking at the challenges as, oh, that's going to be incredibly painful for the emotions of the body, they don't have that association yet. They just see it as, okay, this is a challenge in which I could use in my life to be able to get a better relationship with Hashem. So they don't, if a neshama doesn't have a guf yet, if it doesn't have a body, it's not going to have the same associations with good and bad for these circumstances.
Exactly.
But I fully understand it now.
Exactly. I want to add to what you're saying also. The neshama has one criteria for choosing. What is going to maximize my potential in this world? And that's the only thing that matters, according to the neshama. Now, I will give you this worldly example, because you're even saying a good point about the fact that the guf doesn't recognize. Let's say you're in a guf. Take a 19-year-old boy who signs up for a very difficult unit in the army. He wants to be in one of these really, really top, Devani, one of these really top units. As he's signing up, he knows that he's going to have 10-mile hikes in the middle of the desert with no water, and then having to climb through a thing and go through these, things and climb things and bleed to get to whatever, all the basic training for these very difficult units are very, very difficult. And this somebody's already in a body. And why is he choosing it? Because of the goal. He knows. He's signing up for something where what matters to him is, I want to be one of those one day. And if it means that my body's going to go through trials and tribulations, I'm choosing it. I want to do that 9-mile hike in the desert. So kal v'chomer, a neshama, before body even takes form, as you're saying, is like that. It just has one job: get to the goal. Yes.
Even more so to add on to what Shola was saying, to address your question is, you just said that the neshama only sees the good. So when it sees all those things, all the illnesses and all the things that we view as bad, it sees as good. So there's, for the neshama, there is no such thing as bad.
Exactly. And the problem, and this is the thing with you, is like this: you come into the world, and your neshama and your guf comes together. Your guf, by the way, doesn't just include your physical experiences; it also includes your emotional experiences. When you find something horrifying, or you find something so sad or heartbreaking, that's your guf. Your neshama is makir the tov. I know why that person had to go through that. I know why that awful thing had to happen. I know why you're in this difficult circumstance. I know why you're disappointed you didn't get. So the neshama is always recognizing. Makir tov, it recognizes, look, I chose you 18 years ago. I know you, you're good. Your body's saying, I can't believe this is happening to me. And your neshama is saying, I recognize you. Hi, we met back then, remember? And that is always the dichotomy of a person. And by the way, this is why when you watch people, did you ever watch somebody go through something difficult and say, I cannot imagine how she's living through that? Why? How is she able to live through it? Because her neshama pushes through. Her neshama says, it's okay, it's for your good. In the dichotomy between guf and neshama in a person, the more a person develops his spiritual side, the more he has the ability to understand and to calm himself when circumstances are difficult, frustrating, scary. Because the more he's mocking, no, pull through, it's okay, it's for your good. If a person is completely gufani, is only body oriented, he cannot make any sense out of anything that's going on. He has nothing to calm him down. There's an extreme also, on the other extreme, it's not so common, but there's an extreme of people who are almost too neshama. So they'll let themselves suffer because nothing hurts too much. And this could be somebody who maybe, let's say, has a child with limitations, and instead of going to the doctors to help the child, he says, no, if that's what God chose for me, that's what I'll do. But you know what? That's not right either. Why is that not right? You have to do your shtadlut, which is exactly going to get to the tax. And your life, chaim, equals guf plus neshama. If I was only a malach, I wouldn't have to go to a doctor. But life is guf and neshama. So life is going to be, I need to take care of this. I need to take care of myself. I need to try to make the world safe. I need to do whatever I have to do because my guf is suffering, and your guf is part of the picture. Your guf doesn't have to accept everything and just say, okay, lay on the pain, I'm not going to take any painkillers. The guf wants pleasure, comfort, tranquility, peace. That's okay. The guf is supposed to want that. But it always is balanced with a neshama that can handle the fact that on a deep level there's a reason why things are happening. And that's time, that's life. Now, I want to just go back to show you that there's a place where you can remind yourself of this idea every Friday night in Kiddush, where we say, V'chulu hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tzva'am. This is the middle source from Rav Chaim Vital, who was a Talmud of the Ari. V'chulu hashamayim va'aretz v'chol tzva'am. We say this in Kiddush every Friday night. V'da, ki kol ma'aseh breshit, I'm looking at the middle source, hitzdiku alehem din. That all the creations of the world agreed to God's plan. Din shamayim b'tchilat metziutan. They all accepted the din of shamayim from the beginning of their creation. K'mo shekatuv, she'amru zichronam levracha, b'tzivyonam nivra'u. Dichtiv v'chol tzva'am. Al tikre tzva'am ela tzivyonam. We say the words v'chulu hashamayim v'aretz v'chol tzva'am. Chazal say that tzva'am, al tikre tzva'am ela tzivyonam. Tzivyon means a form, a style. Pirush ritzonam, their will. They chose and approved of their style, of whatever God wants to happen to them.
Why? What would you normally translate that as?
Tzva'am means, tzava means it means an army. And tzva shamayim would be like the army of shamayim, right? But tzivyon, I'll give you an example. In Hebrew you say, this person has a tzivyon dati. He has like a religious style to him. So what Chazal are telling you is that everybody accepted their style and accepted their lifestyle that Hashem gave to them. All agreed to this. So really a place to remember this concept of choosing and approving is when you say Kiddush on Friday night. Okay, now back to the... What's that? It means that they accepted the details of their life. Okay. I want to go back. We're going to do the Rabbeinu Bachai, the first source, later when we get into a different aspect. Now, so one of the questions that we're left with is that if everything that happens to me in life is from Hashem for my good, why should I bother doing anything? Why bother going to school?
Because the reason God made a physical world was so that we would interact with it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm going to show you a very interesting idea. Because really on a deep level, Bitachon could, of course it shouldn't, it could lead to apathy. I don't know, I'll go this way, I'll go that way. I'll marry him, I'll marry him. I'll go to school, I won't go to school. I'll take care of my health, I won't take care of my health. Anyway, God knows what He wants, like, why should I bother? So now we're going to talk about the concept of Hishtadlut. Why is it that I have to put effort? If God anyway is going to lead things to His ultimate plan, and if my neshama already chose its circumstances before I was born, so why am I even trying?
Because ultimately I feel like we were put into this world to saying connects physical and spiritual. So let's say the neshama doesn't have physical. It like wants the neck, like the body, the guf to join with the neshama, but to do that you have to do ishtadlut.
Exactly. We're going to see it even further, that there's two actual technical reasons for why I have to do ishtadlut. So here comes the Ramchal. The Mesilas Yesharim, this is one of the reasons why I have to do ishtadlut. The Ramchal, in Mesilas Yesharim, Perek Chaf Aleph, he talks about this question. And he says, why do you have to try? If Hashem knows, look at this. Let's say Hashem knows how much money I'm going to make. Or Hashem knows if I'm going to be healthy or not. So why am I going to the doctor, and why am I doing a certain exercise routine or whatever I'm doing if Hashem knows exactly how He wants me to be?
Thank you.
So the Ramchal says, Shezeh mas, it's a tax, sheporea kol hamin ha'enoshi, that all of humankind has to pay. Let's understand this. Before Adam Arishon committed his sin, everything was handed to man on a silver platter. Think about Gan Eden. No cooking, no cleaning, no parnasa, the food was available, Adam and Chava were healthy. If Adam would not have sinned, life would have gone on in a way that Hashem would have given all of our provisions to us, ready. As a result of the chait of Adam Arishon, we know that Adam was told that his part, Adam, Chava, and the Nachash all get an onesh, they all get a punishment. But Adam's punishment was, B'ze'at apecha tochal lechem. You will eat bread with the sweat of your brow. What this means is not just about eating bread. It means that everything that you need in life, you're going to have to work for. You need to work for your health, you need to work for your friendship, you need to work for your security, you need to work for your shalom bayit, you need to work for your looks, you need to work for your career. And what is it? What are we doing? We're being porea mas. You're paying a tax. Now, why is this important, this concept of paying tax? I'll tell you why. Because if you have a medical issue, chas v'shalom, you discover something on your body, you're nervous, you don't know if it's something dangerous or not dangerous. If you think you're controlling outcome, you are going to be a nervous wreck. You're going to call this doctor, call that doctor, call your mother, call your aunt, call this one, and you heard that maybe there's someone who, blah, 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 right? If you know that Hashem has a certain outcome in mind for you, and yet He needs you to make efforts towards your health, you're going to make those phone calls and you go to the doctor calmly, like you're paying a tax and putting money in the box. It's a different way that you go about anything that you're doing in life. Because I'm not controlling the outcome, I'm doing my part. Yes.
So is Hashem going to withhold it until your tax is paid? No.
It's very complicated because on His level, because He's above time, He already knows the outcome. This is why people have such a hard time. What is He gonna? The bottom line is that He knows what I'm going to do, and He knows how much ishtadlut I'm going to do also. So on His level, it's very hard, this concept, because He above time. I'm in a process. I need to go to the doctor. I need to do this in order to get to this outcome. In His place, the chicken and the egg.
Yeah, but it's like our mindset. We're only doing it. While we're doing the steps, what is the mindset?
Okay, so this is what we have to know. So first of all, for most Jewish women, if you tell them that they don't control their circumstances, they get very nervous. Most of us are control freaks. We like to know what we're doing. We want to make things work. We want to work things out. So the initial response to hearing that you're not in control is, oh my gosh. But then when you really think about it, it's, okay, but Hashem is smarter and He knows. And the lashon of the Mesilas Yesharim in the same place, in the Ramchal says, he says, and this is a hard one to hear, girls, Lo shishtadlut mo'il, ela shishtadlut muchrach. It's not that your efforts help. It's not that they can, mo'il means to improve something, but rather that you have to do them. And this is why you can have two people who are going to go on that same macrobiotic diet. Somebody's going to be really, really healthy and get rid of their colds and their headaches and whatever. And for somebody else, it doesn't work. Because we have to do what we have to do. But I'm not controlling the outcome. Now, again, you have to, when you really internalize this message,
Could you repeat
actually,
that?
what's that?
Could you repeat the
lashon?
Yeah.
לא שההשתדלות מועיל, אלא שההשתדלות מוכרח. להועיל means to improve something, and mukhrach means you have to do it. So I'm doing what I have to do. I'm in a partnership with Hashem. This is what He wants from me. This is what I'm doing. But if you think about it, girls, it's a very big anxiety reducer. Because so many things in life, we have the would've, should've, could've's. Maybe if I would have said that differently, I would have made a better impression on the interview, and maybe I didn't do this right, and maybe this person doesn't like me because of this, and maybe I didn't get the job because of that, and maybe I'm not healthy because of this. According to all this, it's not the would've, should've, could've's. Hashem has a certain plan in mind for me, and I have to make my efforts, but I'm not controlling outcome. And you know what? One of the problems is that we live in a world where everything seems to have, equal sides. If you just do this and this and this and this, you'll be healthy. If you just make this and this and this connections, you'll be popular. If you just go to this and this and this person, they'll set you up with the best guy in the world. If you just go to this and this and this and this, we make equal sides as if we can control outcome. All I need to do is follow a plan and then it will all work. Most things in life have their exceptions. Olam kimin hagono, hey, the Rambam says that Hashem has a certain plan for the world that most people who will follow certain regimens will get better. But if you were not supposed to be the one to get better, then you won't. And if you were supposed to be healthy in the first place, and even if you ate hamburgers your whole life, you could be healthy. Now, I need to be responsible. Bitachon does not take away accountability, because in this world of the guf, and that's really the attitude, Malki. I am responsible. For this world, I have to think about it as if I need to do what I have to do. I need to be responsible. Shtadlut is serious. I have to study for my tests. I have to write good applications. I have to take care of my health. And yet, somewhere in the back of my mind, I know that if what I want doesn't work out, Hashem has a much better plan in mind for me. And that reduces anxiety. I often get the question, how much shtadlut should a person do? So really, that's a question for a rabbi. It also has to do with the cultural, religious context of where you are and what's acceptable to be done. What people in third world countries do for their health is different than what people in modern countries do for their health. So the expectations have a lot to do with what's accepted as being normal. I'm not the rabbi, but in a Musar context, I could tell you two things. You know that you're doing the right amount of hishtadlut, or you have the right attitude towards hishtadlut, when A, you're doing it calmly. I responsibly make a list of all the things that I have to do to get myself a summer job, and then I go about doing them calmly. When I get phone calls for some guy who wants me to set him up, and I see that he's like redialing my number 25 times while I have a kid in the bath and I can't take him back down to the phone, that 25 times redialing is a person who thinks he's controlling outcome. If I just try it one more time right this second, I'll get through, maybe she'll have a good girl for me. That's not a calm attitude. Calm attitude is I do what I have to do, but I do it calmly because I'm not controlling outcome. The other litmus test for the right attitude is that when you don't get your desired result, meaning I really wanted this to work out, but it didn't work out for me, I can calmly, disappointment, yes, we get disappointed, we have a goof. Part of my goof is like when I wanted something to happen and it didn't work out the way I wanted to, I'm disappointed. But bitachon comes to calm me down and tell me that whatever the outcome is clearly better for me.
What's the second one again?
So, we didn't get to the second one. No, we're going to get to the second one right now. No, this is all within the context of the first one. Does that make sense?
Okay.
The second reason for why we do hishtadlut? Okay. I'm going to give the second reason right now. Oh, I'm sorry. The second litmus test is that if the outcome is not the way I want it to, I can deal with my disappointment. Disappointment is a primary response. It's completely legitimate. You didn't get the job you wanted, or some person didn't pull through with something that we thought they were going to. That's disappointing. But the Chazon Ish has such a nice lashon. He says the job of bitachon is linahalo. Linahel means to conduct you. Lirapoto, to cure you. Ulahachlimo, and to rehabilitate you. give you an example, girls, some cute example I have. I have a son who's 21, who's considering starting to date. And he's in a more Haredi environment, so a lot of the checking out of girls, he's not going to just meet a girl, I'm going to have to check out the girls. I've had my eye on a certain girl for around 10 years for him. And I've been watching her and saying she's so good for him in this way, it'll be so good for him in exactly, and he's like an interesting personality, has a lot of different aspects, and I'm like, and I could write you a whole book on why she's good for him this way and that way and that way, and I even got the sense that the family, and would be interested, and the girl I think would be great, and everything's great. We just got to the point where he's starting to date, and she's taller than him, and her father doesn't want her to go out with the boy who's shorter. 1 inch. 1 inch. 1 inch difference. What's my attitude? Was I disappointed? Of course. Now I have to start checking out all these girls who I've never heard of and figure out if people tell me the truth about them or not. This is a girl who I knew from my neighborhood. I loved her. Disappointment? Of course. But then the secondary response is, clearly Hashem has something better in mind. Did I think I was running the show? That I was deciding that this was the best life for this boy? Clearly Hashem has something better in mind. I thought I knew, that was nice. Hashem has shown me he knows better. So disappointment is appropriate, but bitachon comes to soothe you and to rehabilitate you and to cure you. My example is not a heavy example. There are people have much heavier examples where they have to cure themselves and rehabilitate themselves from a dream that was smashed or something which is very upsetting, a piece of news. So bitachon doesn't say that you're not sad or you're not bothered. Bitachon says that there's some way to find peace with yourself even though this was bothersome. And you should know, we're going to have to stop soon, but the people who say right away, oh, that didn't hurt. No, that didn't hurt. That's not so bad. That bitachon doesn't say that you run straight to that without processing. Your primary response can be pain, sadness, loss. Bitachon comes to soothe you and direct you and rehabilitate you and remind you that there's a bigger picture here, and your neshama is telling you this circumstance that you think is awful, I recognize it, I chose it 18 years ago, it's good. It's makir the tov, it recognizes the good. Your guf thinks it's awful, your neshama recognizes the good. Yes?
What if that's someone's coping mechanism? I had a friend who went through a lot, and then automatically her initial reaction is doubles over everything. So that's how she feels with it.
It's such an interesting thing, because the question is if it's real, then some people, the difference between their primary response and their secondary response is very close. So the primary response could be sadness, and then right away they're already finding perspective. There are people who are good at this. But there are some people who are skipping over their primary response, meaning that they're repressing. They're not letting themselves say, oh, this is difficult. They're running straight to, oh, it's all good. So over time, we kind of see how authentic it is or isn't. I don't know if I ever mentioned this here. Daniel Goleman, the person who wrote the book Emotional Intelligence, he writes about the unflappables. Did I ever mention unflappables here? No? Unflappables, he says, are the people who sweat to convince themselves that nothing is wrong. Meaning, they're always telling themselves and everybody else, everything's fine, everything's fine. They just went through something tragic, and then everything's great, everything's fine. He says the amount of energy that it takes to convince yourself that everything's okay when it isn't okay is wasting the energy that could otherwise be really processing the event. So those are people who too quickly go into this everything's great, and they're unflappable, but it's not a real processing. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case here, because some people are just good. Let's even talk about a primary, secondary response with anger. My primary response is furious, and then I have some kind of bitachon thing that calms me down. She didn't mean badly. For some people, it takes 5 hours to get from their anger to the she didn't mean badly. Some people it takes 5 minutes. And some people who are really good at this, within 30 seconds, they've already said, okay, she didn't mean it, it's okay. So sometimes the primary and secondary responses come so close together that it almost seems like there isn't a primary response. I wasn't angered, I wasn't sad. If it's really there, but it's quickly moderated, then certain people just do that, they're good at it. But the question is, are they skipping over the primary response? Because life has sadnesses, right? And that's my guf saying, oh, this is awful. Okay, so that's the answer to that. Okay. what I thought you meant, Rachel, before was that I didn't get to the second reason why we do Ishtalos. The first reason why we do Ishtalos is the tax of Adam HaRishon. I just have to do what I have to do. Hashem needs me to do this. That's the way Hashem made the world. Number 2 is a little bit more of an inspiring reason. And we say that Hashem is Yoshev B'Seiser Elyon. Hashem sits in a hidden place. Hashem's midah is tzniut. Hashem likes to be covered up. He doesn't do big miracles in the middle of Times Square. And even Kriyat Yamsuf, the pasuk says that Hashem sent a wind the night before so that anybody who wants to could think that there was like the wind split the sea. But as time goes on, there's less and less nisim gluyim, obvious miracles. We don't have so many of them. There were a few of them in the Torah, not so many today. Because Hashem likes to stay hidden. And it's not just that he likes to stay hidden. If he stays hidden, I have the free choice to choose to see him in the world or not choose to see him in the world. If he does a nace in the middle of Times Square and the whole world, wow, everybody will say Hashem is the king. But he wants you to choose him, not to be forced. And therefore he stays hidden, so that anybody who wants to see Hashem in the world will look and find him. Anybody who doesn't want to can deny him. Now, when I do Hishtadlus, I am helping Hashem stay hidden on his smoke screen. Because let's say I'm sick, and he wants to make me better. And he knows that he wants to make me better. But for me to do nothing for my health, and then just one day miraculously be cured, pretty obvious that there's a miracle here. It happens sometimes, but rarely. If I take efforts for my health, then people will say, of course she got better. She went on that thing, and she took this medication, she went to that doctor. I'm dressing up, I'm hiding Hashem. And he wants to be tzanu, he wants to be hidden. So I'm helping him stay hidden with my hishtadlut. And that's one of the reasons why we have to make efforts for our money, for our success, for our health. Because people have to be able to say, of course, she did this and this and this, that's why she got that and that and that. But that's us hiding Hashem in this world. And we're in a little partnership where he knows and we know that he's really doing it, but he needs us to help hide. Okay, I'm just going to wind down for today and tell you an interesting conclusion. It's very hard to believe that God controls outcome and yet to make a lot of efforts in this world. You're writing out your resumes for college and you're thinking he'll get me the job that he needs me to get. You take care of your health and you're thinking he'll decide if I'm healthy. It's a little bit of a hard thing to do. And the Alter of Kelm says that this is equivalent to telling somebody, Shvor et hachavit u'shmor et yaina. Break the vessel, but hold in the wine. What's the wine? Bitachon. God runs the world. But then I have to break the vessel. Meaning when I write an application or go to a doctor, I'm doing something with my body which is against the concept that God runs the world. He says that's what a Jew is capable of. You're capable of doing your efforts and doing them well and seriously and realizing that still God controls outcome. And that's the dichotomy of Hishtadlut versus Bitachon. That's what we have to work on. We always remind ourselves, I'm doing what I have to do, I'm going to do it well, I'm responsible, I'm accountable, I have to be accountable, and yet, I know that he controls outcome. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Have a good week, everybody. I have to apologize. In the next few weeks, I have to run out right after class. So if anybody has questions, if you could just jot them down, and I'm going to ask you at the beginning of the next week if you have any questions for me. What's that? Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good day. Good week.